Hey guys, what's up? We are back with another video today, and today we are doing a Ohio State football prediction video. So make sure you hit that subscribe button down below as we are going towards our goal of 1,000 subscribers by the end of May. We're closing in on it, so help me hit that goal. Like this button if you enjoy it. Comment all your thoughts and opinions down below. What do you think Ohio State's record will be? Do you agree with my prediction? And any other thoughts that you have about these Buckeyes as they head into a season for the first time in a little while with a new quarterback in CJ Stroud? So make sure that you check out as well the website. The link is in the description. The playlist for all of my college football preview and predictions. Ohio State fans, if you're looking out for the Michigan video, that one will be coming soon. So make sure you also check that one out if you want to go hate on that video. Also, make sure you check out the podcast website and Patreon page. And now let's get started with today's video. So let's make our way over to Ohio State's schedule. Ohio State has a pretty interesting schedule. They start off the year at Indiana and Bloomington. It should be an interesting matchup, or it should be an interesting year for Indiana with Tom Allen and his job definitely being on the hot seat. Has a lot to work on there as coach at Indiana since that last time that they almost beat Ohio State a couple of years ago in 2020. This is a team that the only problem I could see with it being a road game, week one, you never know. Indiana's always a tough person to play whenever it's like Michigan or Ohio State. But I think overall, Indiana is still definitely not up to Ohio State's level. And between the wide receiver core that they have with Marvin Harrison Jr., Julian Fleming, and Emeka Igbu, I'm sorry, I know I butchered that name, but I'm sorry. And having either Mywin Williams at running back / Travion Henderson, I think that you're looking at a good team overall on offense. And I think, and I know I'm not talking about defense at this moment, but I think offensively that you're just going to have too much firepower for them to overcome. So I think I'm going to give them a win there. Then you have Youngstown State coming into town. Should have no problem there. Should get the W pretty easily. Youngstown State has had some decent programs. Did have the former Nebraska head coach as their head coach a couple of years ago. But that's about as many fun facts as you're going to get out of me about Youngstown State. Then you have Western Kentucky. You should get a win here. Hilltoppers definitely have some more talent than Youngstown State. They had Bailey Zappi a couple of years ago. They did have the Houston Baptist transfer the year prior, but they don't have a big-time transfer this year coming from the FCS ranks. So their offense is probably not going to be as vibrant as it has been the past 2 years. Ohio State should have no issue once again in the horseshoe. Then you head to your first big matchup of the season as you head to Notre Dame Stadium to play the Fighting Irish. This is going to be a real interesting game. With this being a road game for the Buckeyes last year, Notre Dame went to Ohio State, played a pretty tough game, was an interesting week one matchup as the Irish lost that game 21-10. The Buckeyes used that as a springboard. Both teams struggled on offense. This game being in week 4 and Notre Dame having Sam Hartman at quarterback is probably going to make it a little bit more of an offensive battle, especially with now not having, even though you don't have Jackson Smith and Jigba like you didn't have in last game after you got injured, that second drive, you do now have the presence of Marvin Harrison Jr. and Julian Fleming and so on and so forth. You have all those wide receivers, in particular Marvin Harrison Jr. Because of that offensive firepower, I think they're going to be able to beat the Irish. I am a Notre Dame fan, so you guys know that. But I'm going to be fair here. I think that they lose to Ohio State. I think Ohio State is a good team that has a lot of pieces to it, has a lot of offensive firepower. Their defense, it's okay. They didn't play well against Michigan last year, which obviously is very important. You got to beat the big boys in order to do anything. But you should be able to get the dub there in Notre Dame Stadium. Then you have a bye week, and then you play Maryland. If you didn't have the bye week and you didn't play at home, Maryland would be an upset alert. But because of both of those things, you should be able to get the win. Talia Tagovailoa is back once again as Maryland's quarterback. But I think you should be able to get the W because of Ohio State coming off the bye week. I think that should help Ryan Day there. The defense also, I think, should hold up. You have players like Tommy Eichenberg and JT Tuihalamota, the defensive end. That's a redshirt sophomore. I think that this team has some pieces that they should be able to be in good position, especially they have a lot of pieces this year that they haven't had previously of a lot of experience. And I think that that's one thing that they should have that maybe will help them have a little bit better of a defense. Then you head to West Lafayette to play the Boilermakers, and even though I don't think an upset is brewing here with no Jeff Brom at the helm, you brought in the Illinois defensive coordinator to come be your head coach. If you're Purdue, you did bring in Hudson Carr. I do like the transfer of Hudson Carr, and I think that you still have some good, decent pieces at Purdue, and I think that you have some overall some pieces to work with, but you don't have King Daru back. You don't have Payne Durham. You just don't have the same amount of pieces that you just did before. So even though Purdue is very good at upsetting, I think that you're going to have to take the L there. If you're Purdue, I think Ohio State comes away with the victory. Then you head back home to play the Nifty Lions. A lot of people are big Drew Allard fans, and I know that like Penn State has been under the direction of Sean Clifford at quarterback as the signal caller these past couple of years. But here's my problem is this. James Franklin is still the same coach that has been the past couple of years. And I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Drew Allard. I think that he'll be good, but like thinking that he's going to be like an All-American coming out, which is what some people think he's hyped up as, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to give the Buckeyes another win here as they march along to a 7-0 start because I'm not a big fan of Penn State. I know that some people are, but if you are, I'm sorry if you're a Penn State fan and you're watching this, but I'm sure the Buckeyes fans are happy with me at the moment. Though you won't be after this prediction. You head to Camp Randall to play Wisconsin. Anthony, you may be watching this. Anthony's from Sorgy Stories, so if Sorgy Stories comments, you can go razz on him down in the comment section down below. Here's the problem. Luke Fickell is now in charge. You brought in Tanner Mordecai from SMU. You're going to implement more of a spread offense, but you're still going to have that smash mouth type of football. Luke Fickell, being the former Ohio State grad that he is, he knows the program. And he's a better coach than Ryan Day for starters. Secondly, this game's at Camp Randall. That's not an easy place to play. And for the first time in a very long time, I don't remember the last time Wisconsin beat Ohio State, but I'm going to give this game to Wisconsin. With it being at Wisconsin, with Luke Fickell implementing a little bit more of that style of offense that I think could beat Ohio State. I think it's just going to be a knockdown slugfest that I think Ohio State is just not built for with the loss of their two tackles and guys like Paris Johnson Jr. and Dawson Jones. Then you head on the road once again to New Jersey to play the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. This should be a win here. I like Rutgers. I like Greg Schiano as a coach. At Rutgers, I think that it's a good hire, but Ohio State, they're just not going to lose to Rutgers. They offensively, again, this is a theme. I think you guys get it at this point. And if you're an Ohio State fan, you know this. Offensively, you just have way too much firepower, and I think that that's what's going to win the day. Speaking of offensive firepower, a lack thereof would go to Michigan State and the Spartans. Though a lack thereof firepower both on offense and on defense, they are just in a little bit of a mess after giving Mel Tucker that massive extension after that 2021 season, which looks to be more and more like a bad turned worse contract, more like a Jimbo Fisher style contract. I'm going to give them the win here. Here's the problem. Michigan State's bad. You lost Peyton Thorne, your starting quarterback, to Auburn. You just don't have a lot of pieces. There is not a Kenneth Walker waiting and hiding, and yeah, you're not in a good spot. Then you have Minnesota coming to town. The Golden Gophers, led by PJ Fleck. I think Minnesota's in a good place as a program, but with the loss of Mo Ibrahim and the loss of Tanner Morgan, I think you're just looking at a team that, well, they played you competitive last time. The score was only 45-31, so I think that it's going to be a good matchup, but I'm going to have to give the win to the Buckeyes. Finally, here's the game that you have been waiting for. It is a game you're heading to Ann Arbor after you've now lost 2 in a row, and I'm sorry, Ohio State, but I think that's going to be 3 in a row. I think you finish the season off 10-2. That's your final record. Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines are going to be a good program this year, and I think are going to have a lot of components. Here's the thing. Even though I don't buy into the hype as much that Jim Harbaugh is just going to run away with the Big Ten and that it's going to be a great year for the Michigan Wolverines, here's the problem. Ohio State, you got a new quarterback coming in. You have a lot of wide receivers. You have a lot of offensive firepower. I've talked about this all video long. Here's the problem. You just simply don't have the bodies up front to compete with Michigan. You're not going to be able to stop Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum and stuff like that. The defense is just going to chew it up. They're going to put 8 guys in the back and say, you got to run on us. And I love Travion Henderson. What he did last year was fantastic. But I just don't trust Ryan Day, and right now it's the same point that I was at Michigan a couple of years ago. If you go back and watch my preview videos, I said, Michigan, you got to show me that you can beat Ohio State before I pick you. Ryan Day, you got to show me that you can beat Michigan before I'm going to pick you. You just got to do that for me. So that's going to wrap up today's video. Hit the 2 videos down below and the subscribe button up here as you help out the channel. And as always, make sure that you have a great